What's up, Common Fossil? Today I want to talk about the Pokemon TCG Live in-game economy. And this video is not about how to navigate or maximize the in-game economy as a budget player, because all these talks, my perspective is from a budget player, not looking to spend any money, actual IRL money, on the game. So I'm not talking about how to best navigate it. I do have older videos on that, so take a look maybe a couple of weeks ago. I have things like that. But my question in this video is just how generous is the Pokemon TCG Live in-game economy? So what I've done here is I created a brand new account of the day that rotation happened. And so I waited till after rotation, which meant I was in the worst place possible in terms of resources. All I had was the 8 new starter decks plus what I unlocked on the Battle Pass. If I had opened the account the day before, I'd actually have the 8 previous starter decks and the 8 new ones, but all I had was the 8 new starter decks, and that's okay. That's where I wanted to be at to see how things go. So it took, I believe, 3 weeks and 2 days, and I finished the Battle Pass, which is the heart of the game. So you want to, going through the daily quests, finishing all 3 daily quests every day. It took just over 3 weeks to finish the Battle Pass. I still have over 5 weeks to finish it, so like out of 9 weeks, it took about 3 weeks to finish the Battle Pass, all 75 levels, and that's good. Now, the downside, I'll talk about a little more at the end of the video, is now I have 5 weeks where I'm not getting any rewards from the Battle Pass, so that's a negative. And I think they need to do some fixing there, but hey, finishing the Battle Pass, I've opened, I don't know where it's at now, I think 5 crates and 70 plus packs, so a lot of cards there. I've gotten, so really good for building up a collection, as well as trainer points, as well as trade credits as well. Okay, I also, just to let you know where I've done a Master League. I got into Master League as well, 2+ weeks I'd say to get in that, and I was basically playing in the rank ladder, playing the starter decks with free upgrades, only for the most part upgrading the decks with cards from the other starter decks, so suboptimal decks but decent decks, and able to get to Master League with that without a problem. Now my points in Master League, I've lost a lot more than I've won since I got there. I will say the competition, the decks got a lot tougher once I got to Master League, and playing these suboptimal decks has made things much tougher for me in Master League. So again, I think there's some fixing that needs to happen there. I'll talk about that at the end too, but getting Master League with just the starter decks is fully possible. Now, if someone's a brand new player, they'll probably have a tougher time with that, just because they have less experience. But the decks, the cards, the decks are very solid there. In terms of trainer points, that's the first currency here, which is spend in the shop. All I did, just so you know, is I just bought celebrations packs, which you get under the packs area, and just celebrations packs, and I've built up a pretty nice collection of cards there. And there are ways to actually have more trade credits at this point, but celebrations packs puts you in the best place long term. I'm glad I did it. I would definitely recommend to most new players, just buy celebration packs, these 6-pack collection each time when you get the 1,120 trainer points. And what that did for me in terms of trade credits, which is really, the trade credits is the biggest currency, really most important. I have over 24,000 trade credits, and I did craft a few. You use these to craft cards, which you do in the deck builder. So to get the cards you want, just for it costs about 100 or 125 trade credits for a rare card. Commons and so it costs you 600 for an EX card. I know that. In the other rarities are cheaper. So just for a sense of perspective, 600 to craft an EX. So 24,000 is a good number there, and I've spent I did craft a few cards already, 500 or so. So I certainly got over 25,000 or about 25,000 trade credits in a little over 3 weeks. So that's a very good return there. Gives me access to a lot of cards and a lot of decks there. So just the summary thoughts here. Now that's kind of the overview of my progress there. Progress in the in-game economy is really fast. It's really good. That's really the strength of Live, is the in-game economy. You have access to really good cards, really good decks quickly. The starter decks they give are good. I was able to build, for not spending a lot of resources, a really top tier build of Dragapult EX, which is great. And I could build another, I don't know if I could craft all the top 10, all the cards needed for, say, all the top 10 decks. If there's always some debates on what those are, but I could certainly craft five top tier decks with the resources I have. So very generous there. And compared to other digital collectible card games, way more generous. Now, a new player will have a little slower progress, right? If you're brand new, because your win rate's going to be low as you get to, especially early on, as you get to learn the game, but still very accessible to players, new and old alike. As I said, one of the things that's a bit of a concern is a concern with the battle pass. The first 3 weeks, I was, finishing the battle pass, so progress in terms of resources, trade points, trade credits was very, very good. Now that I finished the battle pass, that's going to drop off a lot. It's still worth finishing the daily quest, because you do get, I think, 100 trainer points for each of the quests, which is useful, because then you can, after a few days, you can then buy another set of celebrations packs. So you still will make progress. It's just going to slow down because you're not opening these packs and such. You will make progress, but slows down a lot. Okay, so so it's just overall summary, which I kind of was starting to do. Really generous economy. I do think the battle pass needs some adjusting. Once you finish the battle pass, I think they need to give you a little bit more rewards. That they could make it. They added a third quest, which is nice, but the progress through the battle pass is very, very quick now. It probably, in one sense, you could argue it's too fast. It was more balanced with 2 quests a day. So maybe they could adjust that. The other thing I think, which I've always thought they should do, is once you finish the battle quest, it takes, when you get to the top end, it takes, I believe, 1,000 points to unlock each tier. So once you get every additional 1,000 points, you should kind of unlock a 76 tier and get some reward for that. Maybe 1 pack, because that's on the low end, or something, right? Or a small, or maybe like 50 or 100 trade credits, something like that. There should be some kind of a 76th tier, right, that you just unlock every time with a smaller amount of rewards. I think that would make the game it would just make it feel better for everyone, because right now you finish the battle pass and there's kind of a sense of, okay, what's the point in playing anymore? Now, the point in playing, I would argue, is you like playing Pokemon TCG, but in terms of the in-game economy and resources, it does slow down a lot. So I think they need to fix that. The other thing is, I think the ranked ladder needs some adjusting. The fact that I was able to get to Master League with these, very suboptimal decks, or moderately suboptimal decks, with these modified, very super budget decks based on the starter decks, it probably should have been a little tougher than it was. So that's what I'd say. So I think getting it just somehow, and then it got a lot tougher. The decks got, like, when I was before Master League, well, things were pretty easy, and also once I got in Master League, it got a lot tougher. So that's not quite right. So I don't know if they need to make it tougher to get to Master League or something. I don't know. There needs to be some adjustment there. I'm not sure what it is. You can let me know in the comments below what needs to happen. But something with the rank ladder doesn't feel right either. And again, I also think the battle pass needs some adjusting. Let me know in those comments below as well. And then the future of the game. 2 points. First off, first off, or this is the third point, but the in-game economy, it's changed a lot last year, and for a game that's only been around 2 years. So it may change in the future. So if the in-game economy changes, I will have videos on that. So keep an eye out. So but the future, we don't know. My point is, be prepared for the unexpected changes. So, because they threw some curveballs last year at us. So we just, we make our best guesses at things and then adjust as things happen. Secondly, and this is probably the biggest point, they need to improve the game itself. The economy is great, but the game itself is buggy. People that have been particularly if you've been playing the game for a while, you know how buggy the game's been. Look, the game has been improving over time. But compared to, Pokemon's a huge game, widely played. Compared to other major digital collectible card games, Live just isn't at the level it should be. It's just too buggy. and they got to fix that. And they've been very slow about it. So they got to get better, is what I'll say. And also, like pretty much every week, about every other Tuesday, the game's down for like 8 hours to try to fix stuff, and that's not good either. So that, besides fixing the problems in the game, they also need to not shut down the game so much as they're working on it. So because no other game I've played is down that often, that for that long a period, that on a regular basis. So that's just unacceptable as well, I gotta say. Improving, but it's got to get better there. Then the last point is, in terms of the future of the game, will there be monetization or not? I don't know. It gets talked about sometimes. I bring it up sometimes. Will it? It's good and bad, right? If there's monetization, all of a sudden there's a reason for Pokemon to put effort into live to make it better. Right now, there's not a lot of motivation to put more resources in the game, because all it's going to do is cost them money. It's not going to get them anything. So monetization could be necessary. What I will say, if there's monetization, what I'm hoping is I hope the in-game economy stays relatively generous to free-to-play people. If it gets a little tougher, I think that's okay, because it is very generous. But if it gets a lot tougher, I think that's problematic. Hopefully, if there's monetization, what I think is going to happen, especially based on some of the changes they made, because first off, some of the changes they make sense if they're going to monetize the game in the future. Now, they'd always seem organized and to have a plan. So you got to, I'm not sure to what extent there is a plan, but I think monetization may happen. I think that if they monetize, it will be to get the more rare arts of the cards. I think they may keep the basic arts pretty accessible to the level they are now, and make the rare arts that you have to pay money to get, because they've already made an adjustment making those rare arts, or the over number cards, higher to get. You can't craft those for 6 months, was the first thing they did. So perhaps, to me, look, I don't care about the arts. No, actually I do. I like plain arts. I just like the basic arts, honestly. That I know I'm the oddball. I'm the outlier in that. So look, if you like the fancy arts, go for it. But I think if they make it so that a free-to-play person, through just putting in a moderate amount of time, can access the cards that they want in terms of the playability, right? The basic arts, that's fine. And then if you want to get the fancy arts, especially quick access to, you have to spend some money. I think that's a fair trade-off. You can let me know in the comments below if you think that's good. If you think, if they could monetize the game in a reasonable way, but that would actually make live better in terms of playability, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? Because reality is it's a mixed thing, right? I know no one wants to pay money, but we also need live to get better. So you can share your thoughts there. So anyway, in-game economy, super generous for new players. You have access to this, just to cards and decks, way better than any other digital collectible card game that I know of, at least of the major ones. So in-game economy, super generous. So whether you're a new player, an experienced player, play live, have fun, and take care.